right, deep divers, welcome back. Today, we are going on a journey
A journey.
to a world within a world,
Ooh, I like that.
a hidden realm in the pages of a late 19th century children's book.
Okay.
We're going to explore Ingersoll Lockwood's Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey.
Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, all right.
And we've got excerpts from the book's preface and a full table of contents.
Oh, very cool.
So we're basically going on an archaeological dig into this literary time capsule.
I love that analogy, an archaeological dig.
Yeah.
It's perfect because we're going to be unearthing all sorts of little
Little nuggets.
nuggets of information and intrigue. Exactly.
And speaking of nuggets,
Oh, yes.
the book's preface claims that this Baron Trump was based on a real historical figure.
A real historical figure.
Wilhelm Heinrich Sebastian von Trump,
No
a
way.
17th century adventurer.
That's fascinating.
So a real Baron Trump.
Okay, now we're talking.
I'm picturing a castle filled with eccentric gadgets
Of course.
and maps leading to uncharted territories.
Well, you're not far off because Lockwood mentions that von Trump
Okay.
supposedly filled his castle with all sorts of curious objects from his travels.
Yeah.
And it led locals to believe that he was some kind of a magician.
Okay, that's giving me some serious Indiana Jones vibes.
Right.
But then again, Lockwood also wrote other books featuring a little Baron Trump.
Oh, really?
So maybe we're not talking about a literal historical figure here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's almost like he's trying to separate fact from fiction.
Well, it's always a challenge when you're dealing with these types of stories.
Yeah.
Right, trying to figure out what's real and what's invented.
And Lockwood adds fuel to the fire with his detail about a portrait
Oh, portrait.
in a town hall in Stettin, Germany,
Okay.
that supposedly depicts the little Baron.
Wow. So there's like a visual clue, a real life clue.
Right, a real life twig.
That connects back to this mysterious figure.
It makes you wonder if Lockwood was intentionally blurring the lines between reality and imagination.
Oh, for sure. I think he was playing with that sense of mystery and wonder.
Yeah.
You know, drawing the reader and making them question what they're reading.
And that ties directly into the book's central theme,
Which is?
the allure of the unknown,
Okay.
of hidden worlds lying just beyond our perception,
I like it.
which is precisely where we're heading with this marvelous underground journey.
Okay, let's talk about this journey.
All right, so the book follows Baron Trump and his trusty dog, Bolger,
Bolger, what a great name.
as they journey to Russia,
Okay.
searching for an entrance to this hidden world described in a mysterious manuscript.
Sounds like a classic adventure story already.
It is, and the chapter titles alone are a roadmap to adventure.
All right, lay it on me.
Okay, we've got the world within a world. We've got the giants. Well, the land of the Mikkamenkies.
The land of the Mikkamenkies, what?
Those sound pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
But then we get to make-believe eyes
Make-believe eyes. Oh, that's good.
and the little man with the frozen smile.
Ooh. Okay, those are creepy. So what are the make-believe eyes? What's the story there?
Okay, so the make-believe eyes,
Okay.
also known as the pseudopsies,
Pseudopsies. All right, I'm writing this down.
are described as ant-like creatures
Okay, ant-like.
with a completely different way of perceiving the world.
Different how?
They basically see through touch.
Wow.
They can even read writing that way.
But really? That's incredible. It makes you think about how limited our own senses are
Right.
and how much we might be missing just because we perceive the world in a certain way.
It's like Lockwood is suggesting that reality itself is subjective,
Yeah, I like that.
shaped by how we perceive it.
It's a really interesting way to think about it.
And what about this little man with the frozen smile?
Right, that one sounds a little ominous.
Yeah, it takes place in the domain of King Gelidus,
Okay.
a realm of perpetual ice and snow.
Brr.
So the frozen smile could be seen as a symbol of emotional repression,
Oh, I see.
a heart that's literally and figuratively frozen over.
So we're getting into some deep symbolic territory here.
Right. It's fascinating how Lockwood takes these fantastical elements and weaves in layers of meaning that resonate on a psychological and even societal level.
Okay, now that's fascinating.
And remember, he was writing this in the late 19th century,
Right.
a time of rapid industrialization and societal upheaval.
So this seemingly simple children's book
Yeah.
about a boy's underground adventures
Right.
was actually tapping into some very real anxieties at the time.
Precisely anxieties about progress, about technology, about the changing world.
It's a reminder that even children's literature
Yes.
can reflect the deeper concerns and questions of a particular era.
Absolutely. And by exploring these themes through fantasy and adventure,
Yeah.
Lockwood makes them accessible and thought-provoking
Yeah.
for younger audiences.
It's like he's planting seeds of curiosity and critical thinking,
I love that analogy.
encouraging readers to look beyond the surface and question the world around them.
It's so true. And that brings us to one of the most fascinating aspects of the book.
It's exploration of hidden worlds.
Okay.
This wasn't just a random plot device for Lockwood.
Okay.
This was a recurring theme in many of his works.
Why do you think he was so drawn to the idea of hidden worlds?
Well, think about the context of the late 1800s.
Yeah?
The world was rapidly changing. New technologies and scientific discoveries
Yeah.
were emerging all the time.
The Industrial Revolution was reshaping cities and landscapes.
Exactly. There was this sense that the old ways of life were disappearing.
So these hidden worlds could be seen as a way of escaping from those anxieties.
Possibly. Or maybe they represent the unknown possibilities
Okay.
that lie just beyond our perception. Remember those make-believe eyes
Oh, yeah.
who see the world in a completely different way.
Right?
Maybe Lockwood is suggesting that there are entire realms of experience
Yeah.
that we're simply not equipped to perceive.
With our limited senses.
Exactly.
That's a really intriguing thought.
It is, isn't it?
It's like he's inviting us to expand our understanding of what's possible.
I agree.
To acknowledge that there might be more to reality than meets the eye.
And that's a powerful message, you know? Whether you're a child discovering the world for the first time
Right.
or an adult grappling with the complexities of a changing society.
This is already shaping up to be a deep dive unlike any other.
It really is.
We've got history, we've got mystery,
You've got adventure.
and a healthy dose of mind-bending concepts to explore.
And we're just getting started. Just wait till we delve into some of the stranger and more wonderful details
Okay.
tucked away within those chapter summaries.
Ooh, I can't wait. I am so ready for the weird and wonderful.
Get ready to have your mind blown.
All right, deep divers, we are going to pick this back up after a short break.
We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, deep divers. Before the break, we were talking about Lockwood's fascination with hidden worlds.
And how those hidden worlds might reflect anxieties about the changes happening in the late 19th century.
And how he uses those hidden worlds to explore themes like our relationship with technology and the fear of losing ourselves
Right.
in a world that's constantly evolving.
Like a fear of the future.
And speaking of things that are still relevant today,
Go on.
the name Barron Trump.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit of a coincidence.
It's a bit of a coincidence considering the real-life Donald Trump.
Right. I mean, it's hard to ignore that.
I know Lockwood wrote these books long before Donald Trump was even born.
Way before.
Or any direct connection is pretty unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a coincidence.
But still, it makes you wonder.
It does. It makes you think what's going on here.
What's fascinating to me is not so much the name itself,
Okay.
but the archetype that both Barron Trump and Donald Trump seem to embody,
Right, this larger-than-life figure.
associated with wealth, opulence, and bold claims.
Exactly, always pushing boundaries.
Right, always seeking out the unknown.
Whether it's hidden treasures, political power.
Even just the next big deal.
Yeah, always on to the next thing, always striving for more.
It's like Lockwood tapped into this enduring archetype,
This idea of a character who just can't sit still.
who's always venturing into uncharted territory.
Yeah, always pushing the limits.
So maybe it's not about a literal connection between the two Trumps,
Maybe not.
but about this archetype that speaks to our fascination with ambition,
Okay.
risk-taking, and the pursuit of the extraordinary.
I think that's a really interesting way to look at it.
It also highlights how Lockwood's stories,
Yeah.
even though they were written for children,
Right, they're not just simple kid stories.
tap into these deeper psychological and cultural themes that continue to fascinate us.
Absolutely, they make you think.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about some of the other fascinating elements of the book.
All right, let's do it.
One thing that struck me was the sheer variety of creatures
The creatures. Oh, yeah.
that Barron Trump encounters on his journey.
Okay, like who?
We've got the Micamankes, those ant-like people
Okay.
with their unique way of seeing the world,
Yeah, those guys are fascinating.
and the Colticorps, those icy beings who inhabit the frozen realm of King Gelidus.
The Colticorps, yeah, they're a bit creepy.
And then there are those enigmatic make-believe eyes who communicate through touch.
Right, and they can perceive writing without actually seeing it.
It's wild.
Each of these creatures seems to represent a different way of experiencing and interacting with the world.
It's like Lockwood is challenging our assumptions.
Oh, yeah.
about perception and reality itself.
He's saying, hey, there are other ways to see things.
Right. And it makes me wonder if he was drawing inspiration from any real-world myths or legends.
That's a good question. While there aren't any direct parallels to specific myths,
Okay.
you can definitely see influences from folklore and fairy tales.
Like what?
Well, the Mikkamenkies, for example, with their industrious nature and underground dwellings,
Yeah.
they share some characteristics with gnomes and dwarves from European folklore.
Right, and the happy forgetters.
Ah, yes.
With their blissful ignorance of the outside world.
Living in their own little bubble.
They seem to echo the mythical land of lotus eaters.
Right, where people forget their worries and live in a state of perpetual contentment.
It's fascinating.
It is, isn't it? Lockwood is tapping into these universal themes of escape the allure of the unknown and the tension between memory and forgetting.
Themes that have been explored in stories
Across cultures.
throughout history.
Exactly. These are stories that resonate with us on a deep level.
Now, speaking of history,
Okay.
let's go back to that idea of social commentary that we touched on earlier.
Social commentary. Yeah. Lockwood was definitely making some pointed observations.
He was writing this in a time of incredible technological advancement
Yeah, things were changing so fast.
and social change.
A real time of upheaval.
What specific anxieties do you think he might have been addressing?
Through these fantastical stories, I think he was worried about the pace of progress.
Okay, in what way?
Well, one clear example is the Mikkamenkies and their dependence on artificial light in Goggle Land.
Oh yeah, they can't tolerate natural sunlight.
Right, they have to wear goggles all the time.
It's like they've become so accustomed to their artificial environment.
That they've lost the ability to adapt to the natural world.
Exactly.
It's like a cautionary tale.
About the potential downsides of progress.
Right, this idea that we might become so reliant on technology that we lose touch with our natural instincts.
And our connection to the natural world.
Very relevant theme even today.
It is, isn't it?
We're constantly surrounded by screens, artificial light, and digital distractions.
It makes you wonder if we're losing something essential in the process.
That's a great point. It's something to think about for sure.
Another example of social commentary is the happy forgetters.
Ah, yes, the rattle brain.
They live in a state of blissful ignorance.
They've forgotten their past and their connection to the outside world.
Now, you mentioned earlier that societal amnesia might have been a concern during Lockwood's time.
Yeah, there was a sense that history was accelerating.
Okay.
The pace of change was so rapid that people were struggling to keep up.
So there was a fear that the past was being forgotten, or even intentionally erased.
As society rushed towards a new and uncertain future.
So the happy forgetters could be seen as representing that fear of losing our collective memory.
Our sense of history and identity.
It's fascinating how Lockwood uses these fantastical elements
Right, it's brilliant storytelling.
to explore such complex and timely themes. It's like he's wrapping social commentary
In a layer of adventure.
and imagination.
Making it more palatable and engaging for younger audiences.
And that's what makes him such a skilled storyteller,
He can entertain and educate at the same time.
planting seeds of thought that can stay with readers long after they finish the book.
It's like he's creating a secret passageway,
To deeper understanding,
inviting us to explore not just the fantastical worlds he creates,
but also the complexities of our own world.
and our place within it.
Speaking of seeing things in new ways,
Oh, okay.
I'm eager to delve into some of the stranger and more surprising details
Oh, yeah.
that you've uncovered in your deep dive into this book. I've got some good ones. I am ready. Let's hear them. All right, deep divers, welcome back. We've journeyed through hidden worlds, encountered fantastical creatures, and uncovered layers of social commentary, all within the pages of Ingersoll Lockwood's Baron Trump's marvelous underground journey.
It's a wild ride, isn't it?
It is, and now it's time to delve into some of the stranger and more surprising details
The really weird stuff.
that make this book so captivating. So hit me with your most mind-boggling discoveries.
Okay, let's start with Baron Trump's faithful dog, Bulger. He's not just a sidekick in this story, he's practically a co-protagonist.
Really?
Oh yeah, he displays remarkable intelligence and even saves the Baron's life on several occasions.
Wow, a true hero.
He even gets knighted by Queen Galaxa in the land of the Mikkamenkies.
A dog gets knighted.
Only the best dogs.
It's like Lockwood is elevating Bulger to the level of a human character.
Right. Acknowledging his courage, his loyalty, even his wisdom.
It makes you wonder if Lockwood was subtly challenging the idea of human exceptionalism.
Maybe he was saying that animals might possess a level of understanding and awareness that we often overlook.
It's like a reminder to appreciate the intelligence and sentience of all creatures.
Exactly. All living things.
Okay, What other oddities have you uncovered in your deep dive?
All right, how about this in the City of Silver, where the Pseudoxes reside?
The Pseudopsies, those make-believe eyes.
The very same. They have a unique method of numbering their houses and streets.
Akshesa.
Instead of using numbers, they use symbols that represent different smells.
They smell their way around the city.
That's right. They navigate by scent.
That's both bizarre and incredibly creative. I'm trying to imagine a world where smell is as important as sight or sound.
It really stretches the imagination, doesn't it? It ties back into what we were discussing earlier about Lockwood challenging our assumptions about perception.
He's asking us to imagine a world where our senses play a different role, where smell might be just as crucial as sight.
It's like those studies on synesthesia.
Where people experience a blending of senses.
Seeing sounds or tasting colors, exactly.
Maybe Lockwood was tapping into those ideas.
Exploring the potential for different ways of perceiving reality.
It makes you appreciate how ahead of his time he might have been.
He really was pushing the boundaries of imagination.
Okay, so we've got a knighted dog in a city that navigates by smell. What other sensory surprises does Lockwood have in store for us?
Okay, how about this one in The Land of the Happy Forgetters? There's this intriguing detail about the revolving door.
The revolving door.
That serves as the entrance and exit to their realm.
Okay.
It's described as making a whizzing sound, like a mighty top.
A revolving door that sounds like a giant spinning top. That's a strange image.
It is, isn't it? And I think that sense of disorientation is intentional.
How so?
Lockwood uses sound and motion to create a feeling of stepping into a place where the rules of reality are slightly skewed.
Where things are not quite as they seem.
Precisely, he's using sensory details to subtly signal that we're entering a different realm of experience.
A place where logic and reason might not apply in the same way.
Exactly. It's like Alice stepping through the looking glass.
And this attention to sensory details, even those that seem strange or outlandish, helps to bring Lockwood's world to life.
Absolutely. He's not just telling us about these fantastical places. He's inviting us to experience them through our imaginations.
And speaking of imagination, I have to say that Lockwood's willingness to embrace the strange and the unexpected is one of the things I find most delightful about this book.
Me too. It's a breath of fresh air.
It's a reminder that there's still room for wonder and playfulness in our often too serious world.
I think that's a really important point.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Baron Trump's marvelous underground journey, what's the one takeaway you hope our listeners will carry with them?
I think it's the power of imagination.
The power of imagination.
To challenge our assumptions, expand our perceptions, and inspire us to see the world in new ways.
Beautifully said. And who knows, maybe there's a hidden world waiting to be discovered right beneath our feet. Or perhaps the greatest journey of all is the one we take within ourselves.
The journey of exploration and discovery is never ending.
Deep divers, thanks for joining us on this subterranean adventure. We encourage you to seek out Baron Trump's marvelous underground journey and see what strange and wonderful details you can unearth.
And remember, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep your imaginations wide open.